Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Tales from the Merworld Radio with me, Ameera Beth. This is a program where we get to talk about really cool things like Atlantis and Lemuria and all things all things esoteric having to do with ancient civilization, theology, mythology, ancient history, and sacred geometry, which is a topic, if you follow me at all, you know that I'm super, super passionate about. And so, along with sacred geometry and returning the wisdom and the knowledge of the great kingdom of Atlantis and the wisdom and knowledge of the Mer people back to the collective, part of my mission, my assignment from Spirit, is also to bring sacred geometry out to the masses, out to the collective, and really help people to understand how the shapes and patterns that create the world around us really affect and enhance and support our life force. Everything around us is geometry. Everything is math. Everything is numbers, right? So when we work with sacred geometry, when we work with these sacred shapes that are found in nature and found within us, they really are a tool for our evolution and a tool to enhance our whole life and our ability to be creators on this planet. So I'm very excited to bring you this program today. One of my very favorite people on the planet is going to be joining me today. And I'm going to give him his introduction in just a few minutes. I refer to Mickey Magic as the Andara King. That's my very affectionate name for Mickey. And if you are not familiar with Andaras, this is an example of what one of them looks like. This is actually my very favorite Andara. This was a gift from Mickey a few years ago. Yes. When after I started my crystal infused sacred geometry clothing company called Wisdom Wear. At that time, when I have a clothing company, if you didn't know, it's called Wisdom Wear. And I crystal infused sacred geometry prints onto organic bamboo. And at the time I was using a mix of quartz crystals, which were very, very difficult to micronize into dust. They're very, very difficult, very labor intensive. And I had already been working with the Andaras. And suddenly the Andaras said to me, Ameera, why aren't you utilizing us in your clothes? Why are you going to all this effort? When the Andaras, we are here to support you. We can be broken down very, very quickly, very, very efficiently, and Andaras can go out to the masses via your clothing. So I went, well, Andaras, that's a great idea. And the first thing I did was call up a new friend into my sphere, a friend I had been purchasing Andaras from, named Mr. Mickey Magic. Now, Mickey has been given the assignment to steward all of the Andaras out to the collective. And I'm going to let Mickey explain or go through his story of how he came into, how he met Lady Nellie, how the Andaras came into his life, and how they basically jump-started not only a whole new dimension and paradigm of learning and healing for him, but how his stewardship of the Andaras, which work directly on your heart and your DNA, have been like, they basically transformed everybody who has adopted one, who has taken one in. You know, Mickey is one of the most unique people that you will ever meet in your life, in that he has led a very a colorful, exciting, very out of the box kind of life. When he shares his website with you later that has his life story on it, I'm going to encourage all of you to go to that website and read about him and read about his journey, because, you know, people's journeys into and who they are becoming, into their healing and into their life process. So many people have really amazing interesting and just outstanding stories of that journey. And so I'm going to encourage all of you to go read about him and just read about this person who has led such an open-hearted, authentic, raw, real existence, bringing him full circle into, his metaphysical journey. But until then, I would like you all, if you don't know him already, to meet my very dear friend and partner in my business, really, Mr. Mickey Magic. Mickey, welcome to Tales from the Mer World.
Hi, you guys. Thank you for having me. It's going to be a fun day.
It is going to be a fun day. And, we're going to talk about all things Andara. We're going to talk about the history Andaras. We're going to talk about, I'm going to give you the esoteric, the woo-woo history. You're going to give me the literal history. We're going to talk about
Okay.
Ethereum powder. We're going to talk about what makes an Andara so special, why they are the premier crystals or the premier earth pieces for ascension and for fifth dimensional consciousness, and why they're so special to you. So I'm not even really sure where to begin. But why don't you, there's just so much that's going to happen. So go ahead and just give our audience a little bit of an introduction to you about, where you live and how you came into contact with the Andaras, how you were introduced to them.
All right. Well, I live in Santa Cruz County in California. I live in the mountains in the middle of the redwoods. You don't even see a house from my house. It's so up there. And it's just a beautiful, veils are very thin up here. And so I lived not too far from here and was told I had to move and found this place. A friend of mine says, "Oh, I know a place." And within 5 minutes after I learned that I had to move, I had this place, which is the best place I've ever been as far as a place to live. Just beautiful. So I saw a spot when we built the spiral down there, and I have my shop down below and
Yeah, the Andara
playing with stuff.
spiral. Talk to us about the Andara spiral.
Well, this is the third one using all the same stones, basically, more or less all the same stones. I've transferred them from one spiral to another. So I've lived up in these mountains for probably almost 20 something years. And every time I moved up here, I moved deeper into seclusion, which I'm not trying to get away from anybody, but I just like the isolation and nature. Nature has taught me more about myself than almost anything outside of the Andaras, but combined, they teach you even more. So I started like, I don't know, 20 something years ago, almost 25 years ago. A really dear friend of mine, a partner of mine, introduced me to Nellie. And at that time, she was in Modesto. We stopped by just for a quick visit, which was 3 or 4 hours later, and sat there with Nellie and talking about stuff. And probably about a couple hours into the conversation, she looks at me and says, "I have an Andara for you that will help you with your mother issues." And I'm going, how in the heck does she know about that? I don't talk to anybody about that one. That's between me and the universe, but she knew and told me where to find this stone back by the fence. So I went looking for it, couldn't find it at all. Then her grandson came over and he points to this one that's 115 pounds, emerald green, called Sai Baba. It was named that because Sai Baba had gone there to buy a bunch of Andaras for one of his temples he was building. So he found a whole bunch and blessed them. And they're all pieces that are probably anywhere from 80 pounds to a couple hundred pounds. And he blessed them as either temple stones or goddess stones or guardian stones. And so the one in the middle, the one that she pointed to me, she told me about it and said that this one here, we call it Sai Baba because this is the first one he chose. And anyway, it's beautiful. It looked like a big green egg, 115 pounds. So I bought it and on my way home, I had buyer's remorse because I didn't know anything about these things, and I wasn't really feeling it when I was there. I mean, I was feeling something, but I was so unfamiliar with the the feeling that I didn't know what I was feeling. So anyway, took it home, put it right outside my bedroom window, which was in a little back house, and then there was a front house. So it was right by where we always sat and had coffee every morning. So the next morning after I got home and put it out there, we all go out for coffee, and the guys at the table are all talking about how tired they are and how they had these really screwy dreams. And I had too, and I don't usually dream like that, but I, you know, just thought it was, I didn't, maybe it was the journey or something. I didn't associate it to the Andara at all. And then the next day it happened again, and then the neighbors joined us, and they're all talking about how they are also having these really weird dreams and not sleeping because of the dreams. And I experienced that myself. So then I take a walk in my neighborhood. It's down. It was back then. It was downtown Santa Cruz. That was 25 years ago, and downtown in the Seabright area, which is these old houses. So I'd walk there, and I knew everybody, and they were telling me about they're having these stupid dreams and not sleeping. And I go, what the heck is that about? So after about 2.5 weeks, I hadn't seen Gabriella, the person who introduced me to Nellie, and she came home, and she looked at me and just said, I'm not going to tell you exactly what she said I looked like, but it wasn't good. It looked pretty really rough around the edges. And I said, yeah, I haven't been sleeping and been having these screwy dreams. And then she started laughing. I said, well, that's not funny. And she said, it is. She said, this is that your stone calibrating you. Back in the old days, it used to take up to about 3 weeks to calibrate, and now you can be calibrated almost instantaneously.
Yeah,
No,
and I
no
remember
time.
that from when I was first purchasing Andaras. There seemed to be like kind of an integration period that was a little bumpy for a few
Right?
days. Now we can pick them
Calibration,
up.
I call it.
And the calibration now, like it's just instant, like it's just an instant
Right.
match. And the work that the Andaras do, and they work very much on your heart and on our DNA, even on our nervous system. I find that when I sleep with, and we're going to talk about some of the different kinds of Andaras. This is a shaman elder right here. This is a dark brown, earthy piece that I sell a lot to people who actually want to sleep better and want to calm their nervous system. This is the piece that I keep on my lap before I do my shows because it just brings my energy down. And the elders, and there's three kinds of elders, right? There's the light green, there's the sea
Right.
foam, and then
Sea
there's
foam, yeah.
and then there's the dark brown. These are actually like
Right.
the wise grandparents, is what I call them. Like they
Yeah.
they are the ones that bring the instant calm and soothing to the nervous system. And I encourage people to sleep with them. I sleep with mine because they will actually put you into a deeper state of rest and restoration. Um, and so if you're looking, if your Andaras are new to you, or even if they're not new to you, people tend to be really, really attracted to the colored pieces because they're bright and shiny and really beautiful. And the color pieces do lots of things to pop open your energy, to get things moving, to keep things shifting. And it really takes an elder to bring that balance or that homeostasis and that
Well,
recalibration back to your
the way
back
I
to
see
your
it is what
body.
the colored ones are very, like you said, very active, very sparkly, very
Right.
energetic. And in fact, you do not want to have a couple of them in your room when you're trying to sleep because they'll be chatting. They chat and they'll
They
keep you awake all night. I've
they
had many
do.
people, and I say, well, just only have one and throw a brown in there. But the brown, with the main thing, browns are, and all elders are very grounding. And that's right now. I just, like, about a week and a half ago, just shifted to spiral. The spiral is about 50 feet long and 20 feet wide, and it's, multiple circles going towards the middle. And it the very first spiral had all elders, and it was very, very grounding. And then the colored ones came in around 10, 12 years ago, and we put those in there, and that really sparked it up a lot. And now as of just a couple of weeks ago, we just changed them all back to elders, which should be something everybody who has an Andara from this source, our source, is will be feeling it, because we need to be right now with all the fragmentation going on, all the politics, all the technology, and just the whole energetics, portals opening and all kinds of things going on. We need to be grounded more than anything else in the world.
Right.
We need to be grounded.
Right.
And if we want to create form, we need to be grounded. We have to initiate form within us and connect to it. And you'll manifest like crazy if you could do that. That's the key to manifestation, is connecting, with our form, because there's nothing in your mind, that's going, it starts in our mind what we want with intention, but unless that intention is grounded with something, it's just going to spin around in our mind, and we won't get it done, and you're going to be angst and wishing that, you could figure out how to do this project that you want, or make this next move to whatever status you want. And you need to be grounded. Elders are good for that.
They are.
And seafoam, I was just going to say, seafoam is grounding, but it's kind of out there. It works with your DNA. That is, it will draw you to your most ancient DNA, which is really, really hard to get to. But meditating with one of these will get you to really, really old aspects of yourself, and that were more clear because it's so ancient, and it was before we accumulated all of our different wounds and all the different misconceptions and all of our confusion. And so we can connect with that part of ourselves, which is a lot more clear and free.
And the answer to that, like, I can offer an answer to that, because the sea foam holds so much water energy, and they look like water. They look like sea
They
foam.
do well.
Our
That's
original
why the name.
element, our original element, the original element on the planet is water. And
Right.
Our bodies are 70% water on a 70% water planet. So when we connect to a seafoam elder, the reason they go so deep into your ancient DNA is because of that ancient energy of water that exists within us. The water
The water
matrix, the
memory.
water grids. Yeah, the water memory, exactly. So, when we talk about a seafoam elder going that deep, that's why they go that deep, because there's a resonance and an alignment with the waters, and all waters on this planet is the same water that's been here since the beginning of time. The original water
Yep.
that fell to earth is still the water here today, being recycled up to the clouds and then coming back down as rain. And we drink it, we bathe in it, we ingest it. So over and over again, we're taking in that same ancient original source. So when you match that with a seafoam Andara, there's something about that Andara that has just a perfect resonance and alignment to going into the ancient wounds, to going into the ancient history, and going deeply into our cells, into our DNA. So, yeah, thank you for that. We are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a lot deeper about Andaras, where they came from, and how you can get an authentic Andara. Very important too. We'll see you right after the break. Aloha, and welcome back to the Tales from the Merworld Radio. My name is Ameera Beth, Mer Healer. And if you're just joining us, this is the Andara Show. Now, Andara crystals are very, very special to me for a couple of reasons. One is they're what I micronize into dust and put into the ink of my sacred geometry clothing, because I really believe in the healing properties of them. Andaras work very specifically on your heart and your DNA. And the other reason Andaras are very, very special to me is the first Andara was found on Lady Nellie's property. That's where all the authentic Andaras come from, from Lady Nellie in the Sierra Nevada. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the origin of Andaras with my special guest, Mickey, here in a little bit. The first Andara was found on her property in February of 1967, which happens to be the year and month of my birth. So the Andaras and I are extremely aligned because we came back into the earth on this timeline at the same time. So when I first met the Andaras, when I first saw them, I actually saw them many years ago in a past life regression. I was in a regression. I was doing my past life regression facilitator training, and the practitioner took me into Atlantis. And as I was going through, walking through, viewing the healing temples, the caverns under the healing temple of Poseidon in Atlantis, I noticed in the little caverns all these beautiful, brightly colored crystals that were emanating this light, this beautiful light that seemed to come from within them. And it was illuminating the healing temples, illuminating the people. I saw them above people healing, and I didn't know what they were. I just saw these beautiful crystalline structures of all these different colors that we don't have on Earth, raising the vibration and the energy of the healing temples. It wasn't until years later when I was introduced to my first Andara and saw them and held them that I realized what I was seeing in those temples were the Andara crystals. And I got very excited because, whenever you visit another lifetime, and you see kind of strange things that don't really make any sense, maybe to the logical mind, or you don't know what it is, and then you find it in real life, it's extremely validating of your experience. And so as I begin to explore them and study them and, meet Mickey Magic, who was actually is the steward for all the authentic Andaras out into the world. As I realized and read that the first one was found the year and month of my birth, there became an alignment and a resonance between a relationship between the Andaras and I that has just, they have blessed my life up so very much. Through being able to steward them out to the collective, offer them to people to adopt, to put them in the clothing, and just to have them around them for my own personal healing and my own personal recalibration. So, I believe that they were a gift from the Lemurians to the Atlanteans to help the Atlanteans remember and recall who they are and their connection to source and their connection to the land and their connection to all that is to keep their vibrations high. So that's kind of the metaphysical or the kind of woo-woo explanation of where Andaras came from. So I'm going to have Mickey explain to you one of the most common questions that I get is where are they in the earth? How do they come into the earth? How do they get their colors? Right? And what makes a true Andara? So Mickey, thank you so much for joining me today. And go ahead and
My
just give us
pleasure.
like your version of like, how do they happen within the earth? How are they formed? How are they pulled out of the earth? And what makes an Andara a true Andara?
Well, the elders are found outside in the open. You actually you'll run across maybe something, maybe this much of it sticking up, and you dig and you pull out this whole thing, and then if you see another one underneath and just a little bit of it, I have to leave that one. Nellie really insisted that we keep the ones. I can dig this one, but I can't dig that one. That's considered mining. She didn't want any mining of them.
So only the
She
ones that were
wanted
being offered up through the earth's crust?
offered up, and the rest are there for the earth. The seed, keep seeding the earth. That the earth needed them more than people did, because it actually benefited the people by it benefiting the earth. So, but they come in pieces like this, or smaller pieces, and then really big pieces. And the colored ones are actually only found in a silver mine on the property, about a tenth of a mile into the earth. And they, basically some of them are chopped out of the matrix that are in there. They tried a few of those. That was too hard for them. And then the silver mine actually caved in. And they barely made it out with their lives, so they never went back in. And it was pretty well closed up by then anyway. So, but that's where all the colored ones will come out. And what they were getting mostly that I ended up with, and that we all ended up with, is the stuff that came out of the mine that was the throwaway. That they were just throwing away because it wasn't silver or gold. So they just threw them away, and they were all in the soil, and they were dug out, even though that's kind of mining, not, because they were already taken out of the earth. So, but the elders would happen, there were times when there was no elders at all for maybe a year or two, up to 4 years one time. And then there was either a landslide or a flood that just, the land just moved out, and there they were again, a couple of tons of them maybe. And we'd go snag them, and like I said, leave whatever's in the earth, but just pick up whatever is, that's offered up. And that's how they're found. And so there's some people that live up there by the land in the Sierras that they have like 6 boys, and they've been collecting them for Nelly for years and years, bringing big truckloads full of buckets, and so that's how they're found. And the land itself is the sticks have a vibration, little rocks have a vibration. Doesn't even matter what kind of rocks. I mean, of course, the Andaras are highly vibrational comparatively, but it just seems like the land is just permeating. It has that temple. Remember, I told you about the temple, Lemurian temple, which was actually a device. It was a transport device that was sat right on a big vein of Ethereum, which is a high vibrational monatomic powder. Oh, it's actually a rock. Yeah, and it's a rock.
Ethereum.
And I do have, actually, I should have brought my rock. I do have the raw rock, and it's got roots in it and everything else, because everything grows with it really well. But anyway, so that stuff is they say it's the only place in the world you can find it, even though there is some in South Africa, but none of it's coming out of the country. So basically, there's none available except for what comes off the land.
So tell us about
And
Ethereum powder. What exactly is that?
Ethereum powder is, I'm not sure what it's about, but it's where the temple itself is sitting on it, and because of its monoatomic properties, it's what causes it to be able to transport things from one dimension or one place, physical place, or a dimensional place, in or around the earth, or whatever, and so it's very highly monatomic. It's what's in the Andaras that make the Andaras monatomic.
Right, 70 trace minerals, yes?
What's that?
70 trace minerals in Ethereum powder?
Yeah, about 75 or 6 minerals. And it tastes just like dirt.
Delicious dirt.
I take it with emergency,
Mm-hmm.
because the fizziness keeps it mixed up enough, and it gives you a little flavor.
Right.
But
So I have the tan, and then I also have the rose from you, the rose Ethereum.
right,
And the
it works with
rose,
the heart.
the rose works with the heart. The tan is more kind of for grounding. And
More
when
grounding,
I
and it works with the
taste
body.
it, even just a little bit of it, I instantly feel my body settle in. I feel my nervous system settle in, and I feel that connectivity from, my earth star chakra up to my higher chakras. I feel that as above, so below kind of experience. And, and with the rose too, although the rose, I feel my heart go like this. I feel the
It's a little
connectivity,
more
then I feel
specific.
my heart opening up and expanding. And the rose is very good for anyone in need of some heart healing. It really is a soother to the heart source, to that toroidal field that comes out of us. And a true Andara will come from a land that has Ethereum powder, yes,
Yes.
and
Yes.
elders.
Yeah. If 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 they don't, if people ask me, well, how do you tell if they don't, if they're real or not? I said, one thing, ask the person if they can get you a 50-pound piece. In most cases, they will never, and a 50-pound piece of elder. And as far as I know, there's only me and there's a lady in Shasta, Bev, who has she bought a collection out some years ago and she has some good sized pieces. So, but we're the only two people on the planet that has, the elders and stuff.
The elders
Well,
and the
has
Ethereum.
Andara, authentic Andaras, except for those who get them from us have authentic Andaras, of course. But no, I don't consider anybody else. They don't have the real deal. You know, I know that's going to upset a few people who have Andaras from other people, but oh well, should have done a little better research.
And I want to make sure and point out that getting a true Andara is very, very important, because there are a lot of imposters out there. I obviously steward Andaras for Mickey on my website, wisdomware.org. I'm going to show you some of the things that I have coming in today. I have a box from Mickey coming in today, but very important for people to know that your source for Andaras, an authentic Andara, is very, 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 very important. So you don't just end up buying pretty glass. On the state of Hawaii, the entire state, there are three of us here who have Andaras from Mickey. I have Andaras, and if I don't have what you want, Jeannie Russell of Dolphin Touch Healing on Kauai has them, as does Don McDaniel, our friend Don McDaniel. And although all three of us are on Kauai, there's no competition. There's enough Andara
Uh,
for everybody. And if I don't personally have what you're looking for, these other two ladies can potentially supply you with your right match to the Andara. So just know that if you are looking for an authentic Andara, you've got to find somebody who sources through Mickey Magic, and or they've got to have Ethereum powder, and a Ethereum powder available to you, and Andara's available to you. That's what's going to create an authentic Andara. So when you're on the search, please do your research. Not all the websites out there are really telling what's true, and so people are spending a lot of money on very glass without understanding what they're really purchasing. And so, my goal in this show, Vicky's goal, is really dispel any rumors or myths and let you know that when you hold an authentic Andara, you really feel it. I have held fake Andaras and they feel lifeless. And when I've had people who have emailed me or called me and said, I bought Andara from XYZ source, why does it feel different than yours? And I'll say, well, you weren't supplied with the real thing. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
and let me explain something too. What that could be. A lot of these people, some of them are. They absolutely know that they're just selling some kind of slag glass they get for $3 a pound, and some of them do that. And what they'll do is they'll get a hold of me or have a friend get a hold of me, because if I know who they are, I won't sell to them. But they'll buy a small amount of the elders, and then they put their glass, their phony stuff with the elders, and the elders will charge them for a good 6 weeks. And they'll charge anything for a while. So, like a glass of water, you can charge a glass that holds water. That glass will have a frequency for probably a couple of weeks. So, yeah, the people who are selling them that know what they're doing and know they're selling, well, shame on them. And the people there's a lot of people say, well, my person's such a good person, and they very well be, and they may not realize that they're buying Andaras from somebody else that's not authentic. And they again, they didn't do their research. You check around, definitely, you know, a lot of people come to me and say, boy, I wish I would have found you years ago. And yeah, I'll bet you do. Well, you got me now. But yeah, no, it's sad because people come out here and they've spent a lot of money, and then they could charge them on the spiral all they want, and they ain't gonna make them into an Andara. They're just gonna be a piece of glass that
Right.
has an Andara charge to them. That's all they are. And
You know, and if you're interested in obtaining an Andara, there's some different ways you can have an Andara of your own, or if you'd like to add to your collection. Now, the colored pieces, the colors are about, they're gone, they're POW, right?
just
Sold
about,
out.
I have some left. Yeah,
You got
just
a few sold.
I don't
Okay.
have all the colors, that's for sure. I don't have the cobalt anymore. I don't have pink.
So we have a
And
lot
so yeah,
of sea foam. We have a
yeah.
lot of the elders still left, which are really the most important elders, I feel right now. Some of the other
Oh
ways,
yeah,
you know, Kauai has so many talented people on here. And one of the most talented people I've ever met as far as jewelry making goes is our friend Donna Rizzo, who does jewelry for Mickey. And this is my personal ring right here. And the wire wrapping on her pieces, and Mickey's got lots of examples as well. The wire wrapping is absolutely exquisite.
it's
And
hard to believe that she did that. It's
and
like,
how does she
doesn't
shape
look like
these?
wire wrap,
How does she
huh?
shape these? How does she shape the Andaras?
Oh, well, she has her own wheel, you know, and she cuts, I send her the raw Andaras and she cuts it into slabs and then makes out the little cabochons and for the necklaces. And um, she,
Yeah,
she
pendants. And
definitely does the nicest work. I mean, normally I'll see people who will just wrap them just to make sure that, well, that'll keep them in place. But they look like hell, you know. They don't look
she
very
she
good.
she really does
Whereas
just a
she's an
top-notch job
artist.
wrapping.
She's a master. She's a
Yes.
master.
And if you're
Donna's the
interested,
kick in the butt. What's
if you're
that?
interested in a pendant or in a ring, today I'll have a big box from Mickey full of beautifully,
Yep.
finely wrapped Andara jewelry, some sea foam also. They'll be up on my website in a couple of days. And if you're watching this in the future, just know you can visit me at wisdomware.com. Go to my shop. You'll see the Andara shop there. You'll see all kinds of beautiful jewelry, beautiful pieces, and raw pieces also, that you can pick up, Ethereum powder that I can send you. And, email me if you're looking for something in particular. But the best way right now to get a colored piece, if that's what you want, is through a piece of jewelry and keeping it the Andara on you and keeping it onto your skin. Very, very transformational for whatever you are working on. They will actually meet you right where you are at and take you higher and expand you and implement healing into your system wherever it's needed. If you would like to get a shirt with Andaras in it, of course, I have my Andara infused. Yay! Sacred geometry, lots and lots of shirts to choose from. I'm going to put up
I
a
love my
special,
shirt
yeah, organic bamboo. They feel so good.
for sleeping.
Yeah,
The best shirt for sleeping
they
in.
are the best shirts for sleeping, not only because of the Andaras, but because of the bamboo. So they're really, really, really,
You,
really comfortable,
you get the whole
wonderful.
buzz the whole night.
The buzz that actually lets you sleep though, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm going to put up a special on my website. I'm going to offer 22% off on all clothing for a while from here on out. And Dara 22 will be the code you can enter. And Dara in capital letters, the number 22 is going to give you a 22% discount. If any of you out there are looking for a shirt, I'll do some nice deals on my jewelry too. Once I get it posted, you can email me if you're looking for something in particular. And I can send you pictures of it and whatnot and chat you up all about Andaras. And Mickey, what else do we need to know about Andaras, about being with them?
Well, uh, they're very accelerating for one thing. If you get a shirt with it or jewelry or even a piece or whatever, you're going to, it's like the spirit grabbing you by the hand and running and pulling
Yes.
you. And then you got one behind you pushing you. So you're getting the push pull to move in that place that you've been resisting to go to, that place we all want to, as our next level, our next stage of our existence. And it usually has to do with us being in service. That I don't know why people are so resistant. They're afraid that I guess they're afraid they're not really, even at their best, they're not going to be really of service, but that's not true. A right, a smile in the best timing could be of service. So it doesn't matter
Simple, right?
what level. If you're good at smiling, just smile. You could alter a person's day, and definitely they'll move you along very, very, very fast. If you feel stuck, just sit with an Andara for a little bit, or wear the jewelry. The jewelry is beautiful because it not only resonates within you, but I've had people tell me, yeah, I was walking by some people and they stopped me. What is that you're wearing? I felt it down the street. And as they got closer, it got more intense. And so they tell them, of course, the next thing you know, I got people calling me, yeah, I met this lady, a necklace, and I want one, but they are tools. They're healing tools. They're sacred tools. The jewelry, rings, or whatever. You don't need the wands, as a tool. But I mean, of course, those are more specific for healing. But your necklaces and your rings are tools, and can definitely alter somebody. And you can alter them like within a few seconds. They may be having a rough day, and all of a sudden they just moved on. So, yeah, be ready if you're going to do this.
Would you show us a few more pendants and rings? Just hold a few up the screen and show us some more examples.
There's a really pretty blue one here.
Yes.
That's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
And I got some that are finished and some that are raw. And I particularly like the raw ones, but the finished ones are pretty beautiful, that's for sure. And what I mean by raw, that is, I'll find this piece here, and it doesn't need anything except maybe cleaning up and wrap. That's it. Whereas, Donna will take the others that have been, and she'll just finish them off into a cabochon, and they're completely polished everywhere. Of course, the raw ones you can't get them any shinier than that, but they're beautiful. But let's see, there's a little red ring.
Yeah, super
I don't know why
cute.
lately
Beautiful.
I've been really liking the red. I've been collecting some old pieces that are red and yellow and orange in them, like fire. Very rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a rare collection. If you ever come out here, it's like a museum of Andaras.
Wow, look at that gold.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? I got a piece of this. Maybe it's 15, 20 pounds that are sitting on my railing on my deck, and it's spectacular. Here's a purple.
Gorgeous.
And
gorgeous.
Yeah, she does wonderful work, and she's an old biker chick. I'm not going to call her old, but she might be watching this. But she's used to have her Harley, and and she was, when I first met her, she was having a rough period of time in her health and everything, and she got the Andaras, and her life. I don't think I've seen anybody with their life change so very much with Andaras as her. I mean, it's really, and now she's making a living off of them. So Andaras have definitely been a big boost in her life, and
blessed up her life and her health.
It's beautiful to witness. What's that? In her health, it's like, oh my God, she's just doing so well. I don't want to tell the details because that's personal, but she's just switched around her whole life. Made some really good. Now she's thinking about teaching yoga, and her diet is amazing. Very, very inspiring person.
Right.
And very, very, very talented. She's a master of these. I mean, she knows how to cut them and shape them and polish them and wire wrap them. And you look at those rings, that especially the woven rings, those unbelievable. my eyes hurt just looking at them. I can imagine making them. I'd be blind within a year.
No, don't say
So,
that.
but no, I know. Well, I'm not going to make them, but I am going to be
Right.
making other stuff. But
Well,
but I have
where can people find you? What's your website?
AndaraMagic.com.
Okay.
AndaraMagic.com. Very easy. And if you go there, it's like if you want to find out some dirt on me there, they can go to Mickey's story there. I think it says Mickey, and it's written by Carolyn Mace out of her book Sacred Contracts. She asked if I would be part of the book if she used my story because she thought it was a good story. But it's been a good story for me. So yeah, that's another one too. It's Mickey Magic at Mickey Magic /healing. That's another website. That's my old one.
And do people sometimes
Andara
come
Magic
see
is,
you? Do people sometimes come
what's
see
that?
you? And do people sometimes come see you in Santa Cruz and come visit your
Oh
spiral?
yeah, they come out and I've got when I made the spiral, I made an extra section there, and right next to the spiral where I put a tent every year, and we let people come out and camp, and it's pretty fun for them. Of course, I was gonna say they come out and sleep, but that doesn't happen. You
Right.
don't sleep. You do one of two things. You either get so buzzed and wound up that you can't sleep, or you get so wound up that it overwhelms you and you pass out. And that's no, it's true.
I believe
They
you.
don't, no, it's. I mean, I experience it up here. I mean, I'm not on the spiral, but I have Andaras under me in my shop below and all throughout the whole house. We're sufficiently buzzed, that's for sure.
Right. And
Yeah.
and I have a very unique relationship with the Andaras in that I have slept with 10 or 15 colored stones and slept like a teenager on summer break. For whatever
Well,
reason, the calibration that we have together, the arrangement is, they know that they need to be quiet and let me sleep.
I
And
wish they'd let me know that.
I do very, very well with them. I kind of mother them and like, okay, children, shh. And but I like we talked about before, I know a lot of people that if they put more than one with them, or even the one that they put in bed, it will be chatty because they want to talk, they want to communicate, they want to be friends, they want
Yeah.
to know how
If
you
it's
are.
time, it's time.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
there's
we're
no
all a little different in what our bodies can kind of accept one time from the Andaras because they are very potent and at the same
very
time
potent.
very gentle and very loving, and the transformation process, the feedback I get from people who have Andaras is always they just fall in love with their
They
Andaras.
do. They become like family members,
Yes,
you
like
know.
family, right?
I mean, I know people that no matter where they go, they say, I have to have smaller ones because I travel a lot, and the bigger ones are a little awkward to take with me. So, but they travel with their Andaras everywhere they go,
Right.
and pretty
Yeah, when I
trippy,
take mine, they go right in my checked baggage, or not my check, in my carry-on. And of course, I get stopped in security because they look and they're like, "What the heck is that?" And they make me unwrap, and
The
they look
rocks.
at me very strangely, like, "What are you carrying around?" And I'm just like, they look very confused, but they'll wrap them back up and put them back in and say, "Carry on."
You just go, ooh. Well, we're the woo-woo people, to them. So that's all right.
Yes,
They'll have something to talk about. Yeah, this gal came through with rocks,
with these bright,
glass.
shiny, like, what are these things?
Yeah,
Mickey, thank you very much for joining me today, for
my
taking
pleasure.
time today and to talk about, a subject you and I both love very, very much. I want to also thank you for your support of my business and allowing Wisdom Wear and then the Andaras to travel far and wide. Like really the idea is not only for sacred geometry to travel far and wide around the four corners of the earth, the roundness of the earth, but the Andaras as well. There are people who are with the Andaras um, through my clothing that they might not have been able to through an actual Andara. And so
Absolutely.
just to give them, to give the collective, to give like, my goal is 144,000 people wearing crystal infused sacred geometry clothing and beyond. And to be able to go to have a goal for the collective, 144,000, um, uh, to be with the sacred geometry and with the Andaras, I really feel that on our way to that number, and as we move closer to, this new Earth and our planet going into this beautiful ascension and rebirthing, that the Andaras get to be a part of that. So if you need to obtain an Andara or a shirt of your own, wisdomware.org is where you can find me. It's where you can find my collection. And I want to thank you all for joining Mickey and I today on Tales from the Mer World Radio. And I will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks from today. Thank you for allowing me to express myself, and aloha.
Aloha.